It's the Friday News Roundup. We're talking about why schools are losing millions because there's no state budget. Philly's getting new historical markers, and there's a bike lane coming smack in the center of town. It's Friday, September 26th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about. Joining me this week at the Fiddler Club is CityCast Philly executive producer Matt Katz. Hey, Matt.
What's up, Trenae?
A lot going on. Let's talk about this PA state budget update. They figured out the SEPTA funding, but we still don't have a state budget. And they told us that was the sticking point.
Yeah, the transit funding. They couldn't agree on how much to give SEPTA. They figured out a temporary fix to fund SEPTA for a couple of years, so we avoided those cuts. But then we thought that there'd be a state budget after that was figured out, after the transit question was figured out. But nothing. It was due June 30th. 3
months late. Lawmakers are still unsure about how much money they should spend. I mean, like, what?
Yeah, I mean, Shapiro had wanted a $51.5 billion budget. Governor Shapiro did. He then reduced that to $49.9 billion because there was opposition from the Republicans who run the state Senate. And revenue is only $46.4 billion. So in other words, he's offered a budget that's requires spending more than the money that's coming in. He then had ideas to close that gap. He wanted to legalize cannabis and then tax it. He wanted to tax those skill games and bodegas and gas stations. He wanted to use money from a rainy day fund, which apparently has like $7.7 billion in it. But Republicans have not agreed to any of that. Some Republican senators don't want to spend more than last year's budget of $47.6 billion. So basically you have a Democratic governor, Shapiro, you have the Democratic House, and then you have the Republican Senate, and they have not figured this out.
They're holding their ground.
Yeah, but they're also not really that eager, it seems, to resolve this. I mean, guess how many days the state Senate, run by Republicans, has convened, or Shapiro said, come to work since the beginning of the year?
Like you're talking about at the top of the year, like January?
Well, technically since the beginning of February when Shapiro first made his budget proposal. 29 days.
What?
I don't understand why everybody can't get in a room and hammer this out right now. I also don't understand why Governor Shapiro can't flex some muscle and figure out how to push these Republican legislators. There's things that they want that he has control over, right? I mean, I don't understand why he can't play hardball here. Here's a guy, as we've talked about, who might want to run for president. If you can't figure out how to resolve a disagreement with Republicans in Harrisburg, you're certainly not going to be able to do it with the Republicans in Congress. So,
but all of this has so many consequences, Matt.
Yeah.
From the counties to school districts, which you've been kind of dealing with.
Yeah. I mean, our school district, Philly Public Schools, is having to borrow $1.5 billion just to operate this current school year, because it relies on money from the state. That's how it's funded in large part for the state. I mean, as Chalkbeat reminded me this week, the school district is almost entirely reliant on state, city, and federal funding because it's the only district in Pennsylvania that is not allowed by law to raise its own revenue. So Philly Public Schools have to go to the bank and borrow $1.5 billion because the state hasn't approved a budget and hasn't sent them the money. And that $1.5 billion, it's going to cost the school district approximately $30 million in fees and interest just to borrow the money. It's outrageous. I lost my mind when I read this. I mean, what's going on here? That's $30 million that is literally taken from classrooms and put into the pockets of bankers because the politicians in Harrisburg can't do their jobs. According to the school district, that $30 million represents 200 salaries for teachers. So think about how this affects just children and education in our city. How is this okay? How is this okay? I think I'm particularly sensitive to this right now because I'm in the middle of the high school selection process for my daughter. And that's another show. It's a whole
yes, it is.
Incredibly stressful process for Philadelphians. As I've been going through this process, I've been touring high schools, and what has become clear to me is the disparity of resources and educational experiences that Philly kids get. Some handful of high school buildings are brand new. Others look like they should be just condemned and nobody should be inside. I mean, that's how deplorable the conditions are.
I noticed years ago, I used to report with the Philadelphia Tribune, and I would visit some of these schools, and I'm just like, why is the lighting so dim in here?
Yeah, lighting, the dingy hallways, the bathrooms, and then it's the educational experience. I mean, some of these schools have advanced placement classes. Some have none. Some have foreign trips. Some have nothing like that. Some have cool after-school programs. Others, very little in the way of after-school programs. So we want a world where every kid in our state, our society, our city has access to the same educational experiences, but they don't. But they don't, right?
No, they don't.
And it's because of a lack of resources. And what's happening now, this $30 million that's being ripped away from these kids means that disparity, that lack of resources, some kids getting some a little bit of something and other kids not getting anything, that's going to continue and it's going to get worse.
And the powers that be know that this is happening. You can't say we had no idea. We got to get this together.
Yeah.
Matt, did you see the tweet from Stephen Caruso, who's the state capitol reporter from Spotlight, PA, who said, "Hello from the Treasury building, where Stacy Garrity, who is our Pennsylvania treasurer, is announcing she is implementing a program to help fund counties and pre-K struggling to pay their bills during the Commonwealth's ongoing budget impasse."
Mm-hmm. That means, in other words, the state, which has not passed the budget, is going to offer loans to local governments, to local social services agencies, so they can borrow money from the state that they're already supposed to be getting at an interest rate.
Lower interest rate
than they might be able to get on the open market. That's what Garrity is offering.
I was laying in my bed and I saw this tweet. I was like, what the beep?
Yeah. It feels
predatory.
Yeah, totally. We have money for you, but first you have to pay us interest to borrow that money before we send it to you, even though it was due 3 months ago.
Not only is this ridiculous, but isn't this an interesting political move here?
Oh, for sure.
Because Garrity is the leading Republican candidate for governor.
Mm-hmm. Yep. She was endorsed by the Republican State Party last weekend. So that means she is likely the candidate who will face off against Josh Shapiro next year for governor. So this is a way of her highlighting.
Look what I did for you.
Or tried to do for you when the governor couldn't get a budget deal, and look what I have an idea to address this problem. But it's a
weird idea, though, to me, I think.
It does feel like a bit of a shakedown. But it serves good political purpose for Garrity in terms of highlighting this budget impasse. And I don't know, at least somebody's offering some idea about something.
We've got more news after the break.
Learning a new language opens the door to new friends, new cultures, maybe even a whole new life. So why not start that journey today? I'm CityCast CEO David Plotz, and I'm learning Spanish with Babbel. Babbel's conversation-based technique quickly teaches you useful words and phrases about the things you actually talk about in the real world. I've been practicing my Spanish with Babbel's AI conversation partner. I can choose my conversation topic and have a real-time dialogue. It's great at helping me think on my feet, and it's improving my pronunciation. Also, it's really easy to do anytime on my phone using Babbel's excellent mobile app. It's just one of the many fantastic Babbel tools for learning. Plus, Babbel has a real-time feedback, progress trackers, and handy visualizations, all of which make it really easy to stay motivated to learn. I want you to learn another language. So CityCast is teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/citycast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/citycast. Spelled BABBEL.com/citycast. Babbel.com/citycast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Let's talk about some headlines this week in our Hey Philly newsletter, which is a daily newsletter written by Siani Cologne, our newsletter editor. PennDOT is going to start construction on a new bike lane around City Hall.
Woohoo!
The bike lane will have green pavement and flexible posts to divide it from traffic and create shorter street crossings for pedestrians and wheelchair users. You can read more about this in Billy Penn. This is definitely a win for cyclists.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
You're right in the center of town. There was like a part of the little bike lane over there, but now it's going to be a full thing. You can go in any direction. Not a win for drivers. They're going to lose a lane. You know, they're going to be pissed about that.
I am pissed.
There's a lot of lanes over there.
It is.
It's a little bit crazy. And it's
but
also
with buses and stuff,
yeah,
it gets a little crazy.
Hairy. But
yeah.
It'll be safer for the cyclists, and I'm sure they'll be thrilled about that for sure.
You know, we did an episode yesterday about grocery store prices and where you can shop to save in the city, but less SNAP benefits, higher grocery prices was the headline. So because of that big, beautiful bill that came out of the Trump administration, which has like stricter work requirements, it could cost millions of people to lose their supplemental nutrition assistance program benefits, which we all know as SNAP.
Or food stamps, yeah.
Right. So check out yesterday's episode for ways to just save.
Yeah. Groceries are going up no matter where you're buying. And with people losing these benefits, that's obviously going to hurt people even more.
I didn't know about some of the grocery programs that are available that you use for your family, like the delivery services and stuff.
The farm delivery services. There's many ways to get your groceries in this town, right? I mean, some neighborhoods are fortunate enough to have local produce stores. Others go to, big markets, and we do kind of a combination of that and also get delivery from the farm.
Yeah. So the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission is adding 45 new historical markers across the Commonwealth. So these new markers, they feature, history from historical events and people and places, and also innovations that happen in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, those blue plaques with the gold writing that you see everywhere. I always stop and read them.
Oh, yeah. And it's cool. It's like, whoa, this happened here?
Yeah, totally.
Philly's getting 14, and they include a long list. So we're getting a marker for the Black Bottom, which is a Black neighborhood in West Philly. We're going to get one at Carpenter's Hall, which is the site where the First Continental Congress came together in 1774. We're getting one for the Greens Ladies Golf Club. And I had to look this one up. The oldest African-American women's golf club in the Delaware Valley.
Wow.
I sent this to my friend. She loves to golf. And I was like, girl, we got to golf.
I never knew that there was such a thing. That's pretty cool.
It's so cool.
And then we're also getting one for the Hospital of the University of Pennsylvania, the nation's first teaching hospital. It's also where my kids were born. There's going to be a plaque for the Kensington riots of 1844. And this is a great one, I think, because it helps remind us that history is also our present. What's old is new. These were riots between white Protestants who were born in the U.S., they called nativists, and new Irish Catholic immigrants who were said to be taking their jobs and changing the religious culture of the city. So tension between people who were here and then newcomers, and, what's old is new again, right?
Yeah.
Churches were burned during these riots. People were killed. Really dramatic inflection point in our city's history. And then there's one for the Underground Railroad, a spot at Belmont Mansion in Fairmount Park, which I didn't know there was a spot there.
Yeah, great stuff. I want to talk about another headline that came out this week. Action Wellness is going to end the AIDS walk in Philly. This has been running for 37 years. So Action Wellness, the organization that runs the walk, says the closure of the AIDS fund in 2024, and this all comes after careful consideration of rising costs, limited resources, and the shifting landscape of HIV awareness and funding. So last year, AIDS Fund Philly, which were the former organizers of the walk, closed after working to combat the HIV/AIDS epidemic for 30 years. And the AIDS diagnosis numbers had been falling citywide and nationwide. I've done this walk, and it happens in like every October. It was kind of like a tradition to do this walk. But instead, Action Wellness, they're going to have a fundraiser, and they're teaming up with the William Way LGBT Community Center. They're going to call this the AIDS Walk Philly Retrospective. And this fundraiser is happening on Sunday, October 19th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They're going to have items on display, guided tours, and this is open to everyone. You can check the link in our show notes for more information.
Mark your calendars. Nice.
All right, we'll be back after this break. Weekend plans. Matt, what you doing?
As you know, I'm unfortunately a Mets fan.
Why you say unfortunately?
For several reasons.
Oh, here we go.
First of all, we haven't won a World Series since 1986.
Damn! So I'm just
It's
kidding.
been a long time. So being a Mets fan just in general is difficult. Secondly, being a Mets fan in Philadelphia is really difficult. I will wear a Mets hat and people call me things. I will wear Mets hat and shirt and bring my Philadelphia-born Mets fan son to Phillies games. And that's let's just call it a character building experience.
Why don't you guys just convert?
Well, we converted to all the other ones. I'm an Eagles fan through and through, Sixers fan, but I had to keep one team from my native Queens and trying to keep it real, but it has not been easy. Anyway, I'll leave the left for I'll leave the rest for my therapist who I'm meeting with tomorrow. But I bring that up because the Mets are in the middle of a collapse. They might not make the playoffs. We'll find out this weekend. But the Phillies and casual Phillies sports fans should probably know this already, are headed to the postseason, and they are very hot right now. Very hot right now. On Wednesday night, they hit 8 home runs in one game, franchise record. They have the bye for the first round of the playoffs, so they don't have to play in the first round. They're automatically in the second round. And Kyle Schwarber might break Ryan Howard's record this weekend for the most home runs ever hit by a Philly in a single season. So there's a lot of good news for Phillies fans. Howard had 58. There have been 56 Schwarber bombs as of this recording. And I don't like the Phillies, but I do think they are a very good baseball team. And I also think they're, unfortunately for me, very likable. Like these guys are all like really likable.
Yes.
And I don't like that. Oh, the Birds are playing this weekend too.
Hell
Eagles take
yeah.
on the Bucks on Sunday down in Florida. I believe that's a 1 p.m. game.
Yeah, these 1 p.m. games are getting tough. We got church and stuff.
You gotta go, the pastor's got to wrap it up. You got to get home. And if you're not at all interested in sports, or you're going to wait till the World Series to start paying attention, South Street Oktoberfest is tomorrow. Maybe you want to check that out. General admission is free. VIP tickets get you access to the Brauerbund Beer Hall at Brauhaus Schmitz, which is over on South Street. And the VIP ticket is $125. You get a buffet, you get swag, and you get 7 beer tokens. So you're going to have one of those 7 of those big beers. And then along with that, and this is the best part about the VIP package, bathrooms.
Oh,
Because you're going to need the bathrooms after the 7 beers. Yeah. That's a lot of beer though, right?
it is a lot of beer, but you would definitely need a bathroom though.
For sure. Other people who are for the general admission, there's porta potties. But you're going to be in there a lot if you're drinking beer all day, so you might as well get the VIP ticket.
Yeah. This reminds me, we have to do a show about bathrooms in the city, especially with 2026 coming.
For sure.
Ooh. That sounds cool. I'm actually going to be over at the Community College of Philadelphia because I am speaking at the inaugural Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists, PABJ, 2025 Emerging Media Diversity Convention.
Wow.
I'll be on a panel talking about mastering the skills journalism track on Saturday, September 27th.
That's fantastic.
Also, want to shout out Siani Cologne, our Hey Philly newsletter editor, who's curated a great list of events happening in the city this weekend, like the festival celebrating Nigerian culture over at One Art Community Center in Parkside. They need some volunteers to mark drains over at Kensington Library in Norris Square. And registration is now open for the 4th annual Philly Bike Ride. This is a 20-mile car-free cycling event happening on October 18th. All ages are invited. You can ride past local landmarks, and then you end the day at a festival. So you can check all of those events out. Head over to philly.citycast.fm.
Nice.
Now, I got to shout out. Congratulations to the Temple University Marching Band. Not only is the band celebrating 100 years, they're also performing this year at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Go Owls! I'm an alum, so.
Yeah, you are. I was going to say if you didn't say. Yes, nice. Go Owls.
And don't forget, you can support this show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Philly neighbor at membership.citycast.fm. One of those perks is that I'll give you a shout out your favorite business. Megan wants to shout out Unity Java, which brings together the love for community investment, recovery-friendly workplaces, and great coffee. Unity Java is a chic community coffee shop that employs those in recovery and returning from incarceration. They focus on single origin and fair trade coffee, investing in our local community, and paying our team a living wage. Both locations are a great hangout and workspaces that are welcoming with delicious baked goods and a selection of tea and coffee.
Trenae, I forgot one thing I'm doing this weekend.
What?
It's my mom's birthday.
Happy birthday.
And she's a neighbor, a CityCast Philly neighbor.
Shout her out.
Roberta, happy birthday, Mom.
Happy birthday to ya.
So tonight we're going to the oldest Italian restaurant in America, which is, do you know?
Is it the one where they sing?
No. Ralph's. They have a historical plaque right outside, actually.
Oh.
So, happy birthday, Roberta. Happy birthday, Mom.
Matt, thanks for chatting with me this week on CityCast Philly.
Thanks, Trenae. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. Our executive producer is Matt Katz. Our producers are Abby Fritz, Elizabeth Kama, and Zoe Culkin. Our Hey Philly newsletter editors are Siani Colon and Natalia Aldana. And our host is Trenae Nuri. Music is by Philly's own Interminable, with additional music from all the kimonos. If you enjoyed the show, please share the links in the group chat, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter, Hey Philly. We'll be back Monday morning with more news from around the city. Have a great weekend and be safe, y'all. Bye.
Just got enormous pears yesterday. It's apparently pear season.
Pear season.
This is what I like about the program. I would never think about to buy a pear at the supermarket, but now I have a pear.
You know why? Because apples, apples and pumpkins are like, they're freaking, who's doing their PR?
Yeah, big apple, big pumpkin.
Big pumpkin season, but not the pear.
Yeah, no one's sticking up for the pear.
Justice for the pears.